Hi everybody, Matt Bull, MD of Action Coach in Loughborough, here with another episode of the Business Spotlight, and I'm absolutely delighted today to be joined by Ian Meredith from CIM Associates. How are you today, Ian?
Fine, thank you. Yourself?
Very good, always good. Well, as we were just saying, a bit of sun's always good, isn't it, at the moment with all this rain?
Yes.
To get started, why don't you just tell us a little bit about the business and what your role in the business is?
The business, we're a health and safety and HR consultancy and training provider. My role is I'm a managing director, but I'm also the active consultant and trainer within the business. Been going quite a while now, 20 odd years. But yeah, we service a lot of clients across a broad spectrum, from healthcare right through to manufacturing, into childcare, the NHS, the MOD, the prison service, all sorts of things. So there's different arms to the training side of the business. Excellent. So it's quite a broad sector.
Brilliant, brilliant. So 20 years is a great achievement. We know most businesses don't last 1 year, let alone 20. If you can think back sort of to that, what was it that prompted you to start on your own those sort of 20 years ago?
I'm being perfectly honest, I was a regional safety manager for 6 UK and 4 European airports with a large ground handling company. I went to my appraisal in Stansted, and my boss said to me, "Well, I don't know what to say to you. Station to compliant. Everything's fine. I've just written a baggage standard for aviation worldwide." And then he said to me, "Well, if you want to get on, you're going to have to move because I'm going nowhere." So I decided at that point to set up CIM.
Excellent, excellent. And at that moment in time, what did good look like for you? You know, what did success mean to you at that point in time?
Just to have a business that could, we could work for ourselves and pay our own way, and better standard of life, really, because the airports, as you probably know, are full on. It's 24/7. Saying that, CIM is 24/7 because of the client base we've got. Yeah. But we've got in charge of our own destiny, and we can do, if we don't want to work today, we don't have to work today, but then we can move things about. And that's how we've always run the business. We'll service the clients' requirements and react whenever they need us to, but we can pick and choose. If we don't want to do a trip to London today, then we can move it about and do it another day and work that way. Whereas in employment, we were literally, you've got to be in Glasgow, you've got to be in Cairo, you've got to be in Namibia, you've got to be here, there, and everywhere. So yeah.
You mentioned we there. Your wife is a part of the business from word go, I understand.
Yeah, from word go. Claire was working for BMI, and then she went to Air Tours, and then obviously when we started the business, she left there and came in, basically running the finance and all the invoicing side of it. I don't like figures. Claire does all that sort of stuff. She used to be an aircraft dispatcher, so figures are brilliant for her.
Yep.
She also did the British Safety Council safety course, so she's aware of what we need to do, and she runs all that side of the business.
Brilliant, brilliant. And a lot of the people that we interview and a lot of the people that we work with Action Coach Loughborough are our partners, husband and wife. Excuse me. How have you found that over the course of the 20 years?
Yeah, it's challenging sometimes. She's got a method of doing things, and I might have a slightly different thing. But the one thing I will say is that the finance side of it, she controls all that, and it takes a massive amount of pressure off me. If I've got to start chasing debt and chasing clients, and they'll say, "Oh, I've done this today, I've done that today," and she's on top of it, absolutely on top of it. And it does take a big amount of pressure off me, and the worry of, have we got the money coming in? Have we got the amount of money we need to pay the bills and things? Yeah. But it's literally really a massive amount of pressure taken off us.
What advice would you give any partners or husband and wives and husbands watching this, being in business together, maybe at the start of their journey? What advice would you give them?
Make time for yourself, because you do get consumed. Regardless, I mean, like, we go away and the phone never stops, and that's difficult. That is difficult. Sometimes Sarah get a little bit frustrated with it, but she understands. The biggest thing that we did, which has helped us from day one almost, was we joined the FSB. And that is a massive help to us for all the legislation stuff, especially with HR. It changes like the traffic lights, but that's the sort of thing. But for a partnership, make time for yourself, always discuss everything, especially the finance side. If I say to her, we're doing this and we're going to do it at a discounted rate, she'll challenge me. Why are we doing it at a discounted rate? And it's long-term game. You give a little bit to get a lot back, and you soon learn which clients will do that. We've got one particular client that's been with us since day one, and they've just booked thousands of pounds worth of training with us. And it's because it's a give and take. And again, keep them informed. I keep Claire informed in everything, and she does the same to me. And that's the way we do it, really. It's important, very important that we talk. But I say the important bit is getting time for yourself as well.
Yeah, and I mean, you've jumped on a key theme there. We always say is that idea of communication. I think clarity of role is jumping out to me as well. You know what you're good at. She knows what she's good at, and the crossover. That's often when things get a little bit tough. When there's a bit of crossover. I thought you were doing that. Or I thought,
If I get involved in stage, you get told off. But
stay away. How was lockdown was tough for a lot of businesses that period of time. Obviously, with what you do, I imagine that created challenges, but also opportunity. How do you reflect on that period of time?
We took a massive hit on the training side with lockdown, but where we gained was the care sector. Although the care sector was locked down, we could still service. I mean, we supplied PPE, we supplied all sorts that they couldn't get hold of. I mean, one of our main clients, we've got 14 care homes, and we were delivering gowns, gloves, masks up into Newcastle almost every other day because they just couldn't get the supply. So that kept us ticking over a little bit. Obviously working from home changed things as well. We used to have an office. I prefer an office, but with COVID, our landlord decided to lock the doors and put the rent up at the same time. So we reverted back to a home office. It's difficult working from home. You never switch off. I was in here at 5:30 this morning doing emails because after this call, I'm away to the other side of London. But again, that's a balance that you have to find. And with COVID and lockdown, that did change a lot of things because we found we got a lot of spare time because we couldn't do the face-to-face training. People are saying to us, put it online. I have some issues with the health and safety training being put online, which I won't go into. We found people doing test papers for other people and all sorts.
Right.
And it doesn't sit well with us, especially when we're doing things like asbestos training. And I've got a supervisor doing 4 test papers.
Yeah.
And it's just not right. So we stuck to our core. We still give advice. We telephone, Teams, Zoom, risk assessments and stuff. We could still write them and send them by email. The only thing we couldn't do is physically get on site and see everything. But from experience, we knew what the situations were, and from the detail they gave us, so we've got it covered off pretty well. But it was tough, and we're not fully recovered yet. We're nowhere near what we were doing before.
Right.
And we lost quite a lot of money on the training side. Yeah.
I mean, for somebody in your sector to even make it through that is a great achievement. And what do you think? Legislation is constantly changing in with health and safety and everything like that. Let alone with what might be going through with Europe and everything like that. How is this sector for you at the moment?
The biggest challenge that's coming up is the changes to the fire reform order because of Grenfell. And then there's requirements now for competent person to carry out this, that, and the other. I mean, I believe it or not, I've just started a diploma for checking fire doors. It's a 12-month course. You've got to have a qualification to do it, whereas previously, handyman could do it. But yeah, so there's a lot of changes there. Client-wise, they're pretty okay to it. We tell them, we advise, we encourage, we say, this is where we're going, this is what's happening. We give them plenty of warning, and we can't hold their hands behind the back and force them to do it. It's their choice at the end of the day. But 9 times out of 10, the message gets across and they do what's required. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good changes, a lot of changes in HR as well, which is the bigger challenge that's keeping up with that. That just seems to be every other day something new's coming out of the HR world, and that's the real challenge. And like I say, we use the FSB for that because that's where we get all our info from.
Brilliant. You mentioned HR. Obviously, you've got a pretty big team now. I think it was about 10 I saw on the website. I don't know if that's where
there's a few consultants and trainers and people like that. Yeah.
That's one of the biggest challenges that a lot of the businesses that we talk to have at the moment is finding and keeping great people. I mean, what advice would you give any business owner out there who's struggling either to recruit or retain?
It's the old adage, isn't it? You look after your staff, but it's difficult because people are headhunting the best people, and we've got some really, really good trainers. I mean, we do things, we pay them well. Well, I think we pay them well. They might say different, but we look after them. Like one of my trainers, Chris, he does all my Middle East stuff, Saudi, Dubai, Qatar, Oman, and he's out there 6 weeks at a time. And in the middle weeks, I pay for his wife to fly out because the hotel's paid for, so she goes out for a long weekend. And things like that. It just helps. It keeps the team morale up, and and we train constantly, even our own staff. If we've got a new training course that's coming out, nobody gets away with it. They go through it before I put it out in the live world. So they're on top of it. We've just done a decontamination biohazard revamp, and again, all my trainers have been through that because they've got to deliver it anyway. But they do it literally before we launch it. And then they give us all the feedback. So they're involved, they're part of the team. And they're constantly saying to me, Ian, if we do this, we can do this better, or we can do that. And that helps me. And it just keeps them involved in the business. And I think I know the food value is because they tell me to do. And we've never had anybody leave. Nobody said to me, I'm going somewhere else, and I wouldn't. Somebody wanted to leave and they think they've got a better deal, that's fine. We'd encourage that. But yeah, it's hard, but it's finding the right people. You've got to have the people that fit your business, and it's a family business. I mean, I had my grandson with me for the last 2 weeks on work experience, and he's already saying he's just sent me a thing this morning. Well, you could do this, you could do that, and he's at JCB Academy doing business studies, so he's full of it. So he said to me, when I'm running this company.
Excellent. That's great. And it's interesting because that sense, that culture you've just described, obviously will sort of transfer across everything you do. So the quality of your delivery, how you look after your customers and everything like that. So there's a great lesson in there for the viewers of this. What would you say your key, as you reflect on the 20 years, what are the key things you've learned along the way about yourself, would you say?
It can be lonely. But I say I've got Claire at my side, but it can be very lonely when you're stuck in a hotel room 300 miles away from home on a Friday night and you're not getting home till Sunday night. It's very tough. You have to make some key decisions. And again, we share that burden, but dealing with difficult clients, some clients can be difficult. They expect more and they'll take more if you let them. That's one of the key lessons I learned right at the beginning. I actually came to one of the action coaches courses, and I can't remember the guy's name. Somebody was, I can't remember his name now, but he was talking about profit hoovers. And I've kept that, and I went every month. I'll go through our client list, and I'll go, right, who's used it in the last month, and what have they spent, and then you realise the people that will use you once a year. Because we work on a retainer, and that's one of the key things we do. We have a retainer system. So we've got a core of money every month regardless, because we act as an appointed person. And then you go through what additional work have they done, because we charge discounted day rates and things like that. And then if they're not using you, at the end of the year, they get a problem. And I'm thinking, right, we've not used it all day, so I'm going to charge you a little bit more. And it seems to work. They never question it because they need you at that point. They're phoning you. They they need you. They're not going to go anywhere else because they're ringing you. So you soon learn who they are. And then you get a core of clients that are constant. I say the care homes, we're constantly working for the care homes. We look after a facilities management company that work with a large network rail provider. Yeah. And they're 24/7, they are. And I've had to dedicate myself to that as well as everything else because of the seriousness of what they do. So it can be lonely. It's tough. You challenge yourself. You doubt yourself, definitely. Marketing was, and I've still not got the hang of it. Marketing is the biggest challenge for our type of business because we're not selling something off the shelf. We're selling what's in my head. And that's what I've found really, really difficult. I've read that many books and that many people come, SEO, this, that, and the other. And when we had a marketing specialist that we were paying, well, just paying a massive amount of money to, and we've got to do this, we've got to do that. And I start to challenge things and look at things. And again, it's trusting the people that you're working with and understanding what they're doing. That's the biggest thing. If you don't understand it, you don't know what they're doing. Yeah. You've got to learn put so many hats on. But the marketing side was and still is the biggest challenge for us. We've got a website. Does it do anything? No. 99% of our work is word of mouth. We do social media. Well, I do it when I'm out and about. I'll put something up there, but we did have somebody doing it religiously. And then all of a sudden I started to question things because I noticed it was the same people commenting. So I just said, right, we'll stop that. We'll stop the SEO. We'll stop the social media. We'll stop this, that, and the other. And it made not 1 ounce of difference. Not 1 ounce of difference to the business. So I thought, well, I've just spent 30 grand last year doing this, and what have I got for it? So it's getting that right. That's one of the keys. Yes, you need the web presence. I get it. You do. But LinkedIn, I found, is better than Facebook for our type of business because you're getting the professionals. Yeah. You get a lot more response from LinkedIn. But word of mouth and doing the meetings that you guys hold and going to things like that, meeting people, that benefits us as well. And I did quite a bit of that at the beginning. So I don't do too much now because I'm so busy doing other stuff. But when I can get to one that's interesting to me, I'll go. And you meet different people, different kinds of businesses and different dimensions. So it's tough. It is tough. It's a lonely path. But never be afraid to ask for help. That's the thing. You'll always have somebody in your phone book or your contact list that's done it, been there, got an idea, and we'll help anybody. Anybody rings me and says, "What do you think of this?" I'll tell them. I'll be honest with them. But it's only from experience you get that. But starting out, it's a tough road to start, and you need all your friends and your supporters around you to give you that guidance.
Excellent. Yeah. I think that's a great place to finish, Ian. Thank you so much for your insights, for your openness and sharing your experiences so far. There's obviously a great future with grandchildren coming through in the business. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on this episode of the Business Spotlight. And to our viewers, I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Many thanks.
Very much. Thank you.